students, after a long forced vacation, you are through to semester 5. I am Dr. Mukund Revdiwala. I am going to teach you paper CC 510, History of English Language. You have studied history in general. You have studied history of Elizabethan age, characteristics of Elizabethan age. You have studied a bit of criticism. Like history, like criticism, language studies is also a very important part in English. So this is just an introduction of English language, its history to you. Before we begin our teaching, I would like you to be introduced with this whole syllabus. You will have some idea about what you are going to study. So this paper CC 510 is named History of English Language. Like all other papers that you have studied up till now, this paper is also divided into 4 different units. The first unit deals with origin or descent of English language. We people use English language, but we need to know where this English language was originated from. English language is not basically from England. It has some other roots somewhere else, and we need to discuss this. This question is going to discuss in detail about the Eastern and Western groups of languages and many more things. So while discussing the question, I'll talk about it. Second topic in Unit 1 is major landmarks in English language. So English language has developed with the passage of time. There was a primary stage, then there was a developed stage for the development, and then at present we are using developed English language. So the growth of English language is divided into 3 major periods, 3 major landmarks, that is Old English period, Middle English period and Modern English period. We will discuss about the characteristics of English language during Old English period, then the changes which came to English language in the Middle English period, and later on the language that we use nowadays. So we need to discuss this thing. Then the third one is about general characteristics of English language, and that is a general all-inclusive kind of question wherein we shall talk about English language, we shall talk about its characteristics, its natural way of behavior and many more things. So this is Unit 1. Then the second unit is major influences on English vocabulary. As we know, we use English with number of words belonging to different languages, maybe languages of other great sources like Shakespeare, Bible, etc. So here in this unit, the study is limited to only 3 influences, that is Latin influence, Greek influence and French influence. Because English cannot be divided from all these languages All these languages have inputs for English language. A number of thousands of words have been brought into English language from Latin, Greek or French. There are some other influences, as I mentioned, Bible influence or influence of Shakespeare, but they are not the part of our syllabus at present. So while discussing these three influences, we shall be talking about Bible and Shakespeare as well. But that is going to be just an introduction to those areas of studies. After introduction of Unit 2, we move on to the introduction of Unit 3, which is about certain short notes related to English language. These short notes deal with areas like vocabulary, grammar, idioms, dictionaries, etc. So let's talk about them. The first on the list is homophones and homonyms. Homophones are those words which have different spellings but same or similar sound, whereas homonyms are those words which have similar spelling but different pronunciations. So we shall talk about these things in detail later on. Then the second topic is word formation. Now, as we know, in English language we have different types of base words, then some words developing from base words. So there are different ways of making words in English language, and I would say more than 10-15 ways are there. So we need to discuss each and every type, each and every way of making a new word in this short note. Then standard English. Standard English is about the standard measures of English language. Idiomatic phrases. Now, as we know, idiomatic phrases or idioms are the beauty of English language, beauty of any language. And how these idiomatic phrases came into existence, it will be discussed in this short note. What are their usage, how they are effective. So these things will be discussed in that short note. When we come to the next topic, development of dictionaries, the only name that comes to our mind is Dr. Samuel Johnson. But if you remember, Dr. Samuel Johnson gave his dictionary in 1755. So was it that he was the first person to attempt a dictionary? No. Dictionary writing started almost a century ago, from the time Dr. Johnson gave his dictionary. So we need to study the history of development of dictionaries, and it is going to be an interesting study. Next one is influence of archaism. Though we are running towards modernity, and we can say now we are through postmodernism and ahead, but even during different phases of history, we find the use of old words in language, and this usage of old or archaic word is called influence of archaism, wherein we find how these old words or archaic words used in our language, especially in literary works. And at last, the topic is influence of dialects. When we speak any language, we try to use the polished language as much as possible. But any language cannot avoid the influence of its original dialect. And this influence of dialects is witnessed in every developed language. So So we need to discuss this influence of dialects as well in this topic. This is the third unit, and this third unit is going to provide you many new things. Then the last unit deals with etymology of certain words. Now, what is etymology? There are thousands of words we use in our day-to-day life, but we do not know where these words belong to originally. If you see on the list, you will find number of familiar words. For example, the first word okay, or second word sandwich, or fourth television. Then we go to word number 8, restaurant, shampoo, monk, loot, swastik, curfew, khaki. And at last husband. So these words have already taken place and established their place in English language. But do they really belong to English language originally? We need to study the etymology of these words. It's a limited number of words. Just 20 words are to be studied, and it will give you some new knowledge about the words which you have been using casually during your use of English language. So I think this is a new type of paper for you, but it is surely going to be interesting for you, and you will have something new to study. I wish all of you all the best for this paper and for this year. Thank you.